Certainty of death, small chance of success.
Yes, hi, it is me, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm here to introduce you to the 250th episode of Tech 3's Rankum, hosted by the wonderful Malcolm Lay. Rankum is a fantastic show. It is one of my favorite things on the internet, even if they'd never done an episode about me. So, why don't you take a moment, sit back, and enjoy what is sure to be a fantastic show, because Rankum is always a fantastic show. Enjoy.
Great show.
Hey, welcome to Rankin. I guess we got hacked by Arnold Schwarzenegger to wish us a happy 250th episode. But yeah, it is the 250th episode. So decided to Redux of one of our previous episodes, and which was a really interesting one because it was top 10 anime movie sequels, and it just went to pure chaos. As you'll find out when so on the episode, the top 12 movies that made that list, we got Cars 3 made it, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Rescuers Down Under, Cinderella 3 A Twist in Time, Aladdin and the King of Thieves, The Incredibles 2, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Shrek 2, Toy Story 4, Toy Story 2, Leroy and Stitch, and How to Train Your Dragon 2. So I can't remember how Toy Story 3 didn't make this list, but it's weird, but it is what it is.
When you made the list? When you mentioned
Caleb Coho was on so yeah. I'm sure we can make a better list, though. How make it work is we're going to go around in a panel and each nominate a movie we think belongs on the list, and everyone will say yes or no to it. And if it gets more than 3 yeses, then it makes it. But Zach, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
I mean, I have so many good choices to bring up. I'm going to go with one that was not on that list, but I could have been. I'm going to go with Shrek 2. I think it is actually better than the first one, and I think it has some good songs. You are introduced to Puss in Boots, and that's the one I'm nominating.
But Jacob, what do you say about Shrek 2?
I'll give it a yes. I think Shrek 2 is on par with the first one. As far as quality and comedy, I think the comedy is still there. Introduction to Puss in Boots, like Zach said, is a lot of fun. The voice cast is just as good as the first one. And yeah, on a lot of notes, it sometimes can overtake the first one. So I think Shrek 2 absolutely deserves a place on the top 12 animated sequels.
Brian, what do you say about Shrek 2?
I would give it a yes. It's better than the first one. You get some great comedy there. Fairy Godmother is one of the best humorous villains. And you get the whole chase sequence at the end with, "I need a hero, calling out for heroes more night." And you get the Godzilla reference with Mongo trying to prevent. So yes.
And Chris, what do you say about Shrek 2?
Yeah, I love this movie on my list. Not my favorite out of the sequel in the Shrek franchise that would come out a little bit later. But I do love this movie. This is one of my favorite DreamWorks movie, and it's even more funnier than the first one. The last of the cop jokes, especially with the night things, is one of the funniest life parody things. And on the pink pancakes with Pinocchio classic joke. Yeah, I just laugh hard every moment think of this movie.
But yeah, Shrek 2 is an easy one to make this list. It's a great sequel. There's not much more that I can say that hasn't already been said by other people. But Shrek 2 is going to make this list. Jacob, we go to you for your first nomination.
I'm going to go with a pick that some people might say, I think it might be a little too soon. And to those people, I say, you're wrong. it's not too soon. I think this movie is incredible. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. I'm going to go with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think this movie is incredible. I think the blend of animation styles is just absolutely stunning. I think the characters are all a lot of fun. I think that 20-minute opening, like you could single that out as like a short animated film, and I would still love it just as much as I love the film as a whole. I think that part is incredible. I love that we get to explore more of Gwen's relationship with her dad. We dive more into Miles' relationship with his parents, and kind of Miles like as Spider-Man. We the first one we kind of take a while to get there, but this one we just kind of jump right into it. I think the villain is incredible. It starts off as like, yeah, maybe he is a villain of the week, but he turns out to be really menacing. And I never thought I would use the word menacing to describe a Jason Schwartzman character, but here we are. I think this movie is just it's awesome, and I think it deserves a spot on the list, even though it only came out a couple months ago.
Brian, what do you say about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
I would agree with it. Yes, it's my second film of the year. Great use of animation with the Lego sequence. You get some good use of live action animation sequence. So great characters. Spider-Man India. You get the whole sequence of all the Spider-Man chasing against Miles Morales is such a great sequence. So it's yes.
Chris, what do you say about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
Yeah, this is my number 2 this year so far. I love this movie. When my number 1 Mariah to Past Life came out, but yeah, I love this movie. This is one of the best animated sequels ever made. This is incredible animation, incredible story, some great emotional payoff. The scene with Miles and his mom, the scene with his dad, granted her dad, and it does have all the emote and the laugh is there. I cannot wait for the next part next year.
I mean, if it still ends up coming out next year. Yeah. But yeah, I love Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I still would have said yes, like as Dave said, there's gonna be people going, oh, it's too soon, but it's still a really good movie. Like I've seen it twice. Like I've enjoyed it both times, and I think the animation's just great. So it's going to be yes for me. Zach, what do you say about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
I really like this movie. It's on my list, so I'm just going to keep it short and sweet and say yes.
But moving on to Brian, what is your first nomination?
I'm going to bring up my favorite Toy Story films. I'm going to bring up Toy Story 2. The fact that earlier when it was supposed to be made, it was supposed to be like a direct-to-video sequence until they saw the Why She Love Me scene. Got emotional, saying they have to be in the movie. I guess it's a comedy with the whole buddy adventure with Buzz and toys, rescue Woody. You get the Buzz's backstory with him being Zoro's son's great Parasite's back sequence. So, Toy Story 2 is my nomination.
Chris, what do you say about Toy Story 2?
Yeah, well, that's not my favorite sequel out of the Toy Story movie, but I do love this movie. I think it's emotional. When somebody loves you, one of the most emotional gut punch moment in the Pixar movie. Jesse Baxter, everything is great. Stinky Pete, I could have done maybe route he catchy grammar great, but the villain turned a little bit come out nowhere. But yeah, everything fantastic. This is perfect example how to do a sequel by Pixar, and to infinity and beyond, always.
Yeah, Toy Story 2 is not my favorite out of the sequels. This is one of those ones that I didn't really have a lot that I needed to watch for the first time for this list, but so I took the opportunity to just sort of rewatch the whole franchise because I could, and I've always been meaning to rewatch the Toy Story movies in a while, but so I did rewatch Toy Story 2 for this. It's really good. It's still in the realm. I'm going to give it a yes. So yes to Toy Story 2 for me. Zach, what do you say about Toy Story 2?
I mean, my vote might not count. I'm just going to say no because I feel like it's not as great of a movie, in my opinion, as some of the other entries in this franchise. And just short and sweet. I'm just gonna say no for that one.
Jacob, what would you have said about Toy Story 2?
Your vote does matter. I mean, it's making the list, but your vote still matters. I'd say yes. It's also not my favorite of the list, but I mean, of the sequels. But saying like it's not your favorite Toy Story movie isn't really a dig on it, because the Toy Story franchise is just really good. Even Toy Story 4, which is like probably one of the best unnecessary movies that we've ever gotten. But yeah, Toy Story 2 hits you with the emotion again. I love the dynamic between Woody and Buzz. Alice Toy Barn. What's not to love about that? Yeah, it's a yes. Toy Story 2 is fantastic.
Yeah. But Toy Story 2 is going to make the list. Chris, we go to you. What is the first sequel you're going to bring up?
I don't bring up the other one I was mentioning from the Shrek scene. I don't bring up the one recent being by my answer. I think this is the better animated movie that came out last year. Sorry, Pinocchio, but this one was better. Going with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I think for a sequel to Puss in Boots, also a sequel to Shrek, it was a really surprising movie to me in a lot of ways. It's dark. It have pretty dark theme to it about morality and not wasting your life as it is. It had probably the best villain in last couple years for animation film with the wolf. Like, he is scary. His whistle alone sends chills down my eyes. But it's funny. That's harder. Like, John Mulaney is hysterical as the other villain in the movie. Like, the stuff with him and the Jamie Stewart, cricket thing. It's some of the funniest moments in the movie. But it have hard. The dog is cute. Everything with Percy, like, they done more with this character than it does in any of the other Shrek movie. I think it's by far the best all of the Shrek series movie, and it was so well done. Fun, cute, perfect, like everything delivered on fun. The animation is stunning at points, and some of the best actions I've seen in any animated movie. Yeah, it might be recent, but this is how animation should go for a sequel that not Pixar related.
I mean, first off, I think you're crazy for thinking it's the best in the Shrek franchise. Like, Shrek 2 is the best.
I agree with it. Shrek should be the best.
I watched. I finally got around to seeing Puss in Boots: Last Wish a while ago. I was like, I think it's fine. Like, I think it was one of those movies that I think was definitely really overly hyped, because I think everyone's like, oh, it's the best thing this ever. Is like, it's fine. Like, I mean, I still liked it enough. I'm still to say yes to it, but Shrek 2 is still easily the best in the Shrek franchise. But Zach, what do you say about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish?
So it's funny. I haven't seen this movie, but I'm going to say yes just because of how good I've heard it. People talking about it. And so just for, again, I haven't seen it, but I'll just say yes because of how popular it is.
Jacob, what do you say about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish?
I'm gonna give it a no. Not because I don't like it. I do think it's a good movie, but the unnecessary dig at Pinocchio, which was the superior animated movie for me personally. That's just my opinion, though. But it's also like I feel like maybe it was overhyped for me when I first saw it. That, like, I didn't feel like I was watching one of the best animated movies ever. I was just watching a really good animated movie. The story is fine. The animation is good. It's great. The animation is great, but the story, like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, like everyone else was.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a no, but not because I don't think it's a good movie. I do, just not one of the top 12 sequels for me personally.
And Brian, what would you have said about Puss in Boots: Last Wish?
I have to stand this one because I haven't got around to this one yet, so I'm staying.
You really should get around to it, Brian, when you get a chance.
But
I would recommend it.
Yeah. But it's still going to make the list. So Puss in Boots: Last Wish will make it in, and it's going to go to me. but yeah, I'm gonna bring up one that I watched for this, and it's going to come with no surprise to anyone, but well, maybe I don't know. But I'm going to bring up Boss Baby Family Business. Look, I look, I don't get the hate for the Boss Baby movies. Like, I think Boss Baby Family Business is good. Like, I think it's got a lot of good story. I think and the whole family elements work. And I just really loved it. And I think I'm also a big fan. Like, I'm not as over the moon about Boss Baby as my buddy Matt Kearns is, but it's good. Zach, what do you say about Boss Baby Family Business?
If you had seen my face when you said that, I just had to do a battleground match where I debated how this was the worst DreamWorks franchise of all. This movie is so bad. It is, in my opinion, it is so unnecessary. So, I'm giving this a big no. I'm sorry, Malcolm, but it's a big no for me.
Jacob, what do you say about Boss Baby Family Business?
I haven't seen it, but I have heard that it's better than the first, which might not be too hard to do, but I'll give it a watch, but it's just based off your reaction, Malcolm. You seem to like it, and so I'll give it a shot at some point. But yeah, I just haven't seen it yet.
That's fair. Brian, what do you say about Boss Baby Family Business?
I'm not a big fan of the Boss Baby films. I know Matt Kearns is, but I'm not a big fan, so it's no.
And Chris, you're definitely going to say yes, right?
No, no. The better Dreamer animated sequel would be up here. No, no.
But anyway, moving on, Zach, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'll just go to the top of my list. I'm going to say How to Train Your Dragon 2. I think it is on par with the first one, and I just feel like you get more of the backstory in this, especially with learning about the mom, and I feel like it's a good villain. So for that, I'm going to say it, How to Train Your Dragon 2.
But Jacob, what do you say about How to Train Your Dragon 2?
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen this, but this is a trilogy that I really enjoy. I think it's one of the better trilogies to come out of the 2010s, and on any given day, I could put any one of them as the top for me. So I'm going to give it a yes because I think the backstory with the mom is really cool. I like the way they go with the story. The animation again is really good. Voice cast again is really good, solid throughout. So I'll give it a yes.
Brian, what do you say about How to Train Your Dragon 2?
I'm going to give it a yes as well. It's my favorite of the trilogy. You get some good additions to the cast. You get Kate Blanchett added to the cast as mother. Great villain with Kit Harington as Aaron. Some great score, some beautiful animation. So it's a yes for me.
Chris, what do you say about How to Train Your Dragon 2?
Yeah, I love this film. This is my top three, top two favorite sequel any Dreamer, my top three actually. But yeah, I love this film. I think it's beautiful. I think it's wonderful. I think the villain good. I think the emotion is really good. The Renaissance scene with Gerard Butler and Kate Blanchett is a beautiful scene. I cry every time we watch that scene because relationships and stuff that touch me in a way. Yeah, I love this film. This is my favorite out of the franchise. And both should either one be up later. Definitely deserve to be on here. Well, both of them.
But yeah, look, I like the first How to Train Your Dragon movie. I'm not a fan of the sequel. I didn't enjoy it. And it's just one of those ones just didn't connect with me as much as Claire did for you. Still gonna make the list though, but I would have gone no. Jacob, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with the sequel to a Disney movie, and probably one of the best just side characters ever. Um, I'm gonna go with Kronk's New Groove. Kronk is Kronk
Yes.
is the best Disney side character. He is the best part of the Emperor's New Groove. He makes that movie tolerable, and to give him his own movie is the absolute correct decision. More Patrick Warburton as Kronk, please. I think this movie is just a lot of fun. It's not that long. It's just a fun, hour, a little over an hour. Turn on, turn your brain off, have some fun. Um, and when it comes to animated movies, sometimes you just gotta have fun. And Kronk's New Groove does that. So Kronk's New Groove.
Yeah. And before anyone in the comments yells at me that this is a direct-to-video sequel, I allowed it.
Yeah.
I may regret it later, like the last
Leroy Stitch.
last time.
Leroy and
Don't
Stitch.
worry, Leroy, just not to be brought up.
But Brian, what do you say about Kronk's New Groove?
I'm going to give it a yes. I'm going to give it a yes. It's a great sequel to a great side character sequel. You get the returning cast members back. Even you get addition to John Mahoney and Tracy Ullman as Clark's father and Mrs. Birdwell. So great segments. You get a little bit of Eartha Kitt. You get a little bit with Spruce House, and the end with everyone in there. So a great opening title sequence. So I'm going to give it a yes.
This guy gets it.
Chris, what do you say about Kronk's New Groove?
I only have like 3 direct-to-video for Disney on my list, and this is not one of them. I think it's fine. I think it's not the worst the direct-to-video, just in the middle for me. I think it's just it feels like a TV version of Emperor New Groove out the charm and the humor that made the original great. It's fine.
Well,
The TV show is better.
Direct-to-video sequels feel like TV.
Yeah.
I prefer Emperor New School over Kronk New Groove.
That's fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the thing. Like, you can a lot of these straight-to-video sequels are probably ones that were designed to be like TV movies to put on like the Disney Channel and stuff like that. So it's like, but yeah, I've seen it's been ages since I saw this. I remember not liking this, but then again, I wasn't really that high on Emperor's New Groove. So I'm going to say no. But Zach, what do you say about Kronk's New Groove?
I think I've heard of it once and now twice just because of Jacob. And for me, I'm just going to say no. I just feel like there are better sequels out there.
How can you say that if you haven't seen it?
Yeah, better direct-to-Disney sequel out there.
But Brian, we go to you. What is your next nomination?
I'm going to bring up Request in Paris, the movie, for this one. This is a good sequel to the first one. The sequel is all about Chucky trying to find mom. The whole movie set in Paris with the whole year Wonderland. So great to the cast. You got Susan Sarandon and John Lithgow, the 2 villains. A great Godzilla type fight sequence toward the end. It's only 30 minutes, so you can catch it like more than once. So I'll pick up Rugrats in Paris, the movie.
Chris, what do you say about Rugrats in Paris?
I like this movie a lot. I know some people don't. I want Mom to Last Forever. It's pretty emotional scene on the plane. I liked Susan Sarandon as the villain. I liked a lot of humor. I like how it does going time more into TV show going into Netflix afterward. But yeah, and I like what they do with Chucky. I do give a slight no because I think it's shocking that we might say yes to this, say no to a few things that probably haven't been brought up yet.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I like. I'm one of the few people that grew up with Rugrats, and I love Rugrats movies. Rugrats in Paris, I do think is good. It's just unfortunate. No, I'm going to make things a little bit interesting. I'm going to give it a slight yes. Zach, what do you say about Rugrats in Paris?
Just looking at my list and I think I've only seen this once and it wasn't very memorable. So just for that, I'm just going to say no.
But Jacob, what do you say about Rugrats in Paris?
I actually prefer my Rugrats all grown up. That's my personal favorite of the Rugrats. Or in 15-minute episodes. The movie's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's just not something that I go back to. And when I'm making the top 12 list, rewatchability does play a factor for me. So I'm gonna give it a no, but not because it's a bad movie.
Yeah, and for me personally, out of the Rugrats sequels, I probably would have leaned slightly more to Go Wild. As the one I
no.
like
It's
the
gonna come
most.
up, baby.
No.
But Chris, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
You know what? I'll just shoot for the Disney Redux sequel I mentioned that the better one. This is one I actually might like over the original, just what they do with this. It's the third one in the series, but this is surprisingly really good. And it does stuff that you should see influence of the live action remake off from it. The guy wrote Cinderella for Attrition Time. I think this is what they did for a sequel that takes the story, but go back in time, make it even stepmother, make everything not happen. Like that the shoot does the Cinderella shit on Anastasia, but they do more with the character that I've seen done in any of the animated movie. You get development with the king, with the backstory with his wife, but you get a lot with the prince, where it really you just see steps each other life after he makes on. And besides the weird like hand fetish thing he had, but the humor land, the humor like this is really very funny meta humor in there. The infamous, I forbid you for taking one more step down the stairs, him jumping out the window. I think is one of the most funniest moments of any Prince George. But I think it does well. It made you like the relationship between Cinderella and the prince. They actually do show that there's more to it. Like I like the reconnecting, like the little inside joke with the name, and they made this stepmother scary. Like holy freaking shit! Like the thing when she does just that time, even Grandpa her smile at it, really creepy thing. And Anastasia is better developed than she was in that awful second one. Like you really feel for him, and it's a satisfying third movie. I never thought I would say that about Disney watch the video, but I like it better than the original. And I think it does more with every character that the original did not do. The king, the prince, even Cinderella herself. Like she had to fight for her love. Like she doesn't have the fairy godmother to help with this. And the way she tried to snake in the palace, the way she tried to save the day. Lucifer being humans, scary. Wait. Yeah, this is by far my favorite Disney director video. The one more also like two more on my list, but they're higher than the other two for me.
I just haven't I need to catch up on some of these direct-to-video movies. I haven't seen a lot of them, so I haven't seen this one. Zach, what do you say about Cinderella 3 at Tristan
I mean, I've heard of this movie and I've seen it on like a lot of big like animated sequel lists, but I'm conflicted because I haven't seen this movie, and I just don't know if it interests me enough to see it. So I'm going to give it a slight no.
Jacob, what do you say about Cinderella 3?
I'm inclined to say yes because I do think it's such a bizarre premise for a Cinderella sequel that it kind of does work. But again, rewatchability plays a big factor for me when making a list like this. It's just not one that I'm going back to like at all. So I'm gonna give it a no.
Ryan, what do you say about Cinderella 3 at Tristan Time?
I quite enjoy Cinderella 3 at Tristan Times. It's way better than the original. You guys more focused on the stepsisters, which they're one of the best parts of the original. So that was a good. So I'm going to give it a yes based on the At the Ball song.
But if that Cinderella 3 at Tristan Time doesn't make the list, I'm just waiting for Cinderella 4 into the multiverse.
I mean, it might happen, Malcolm. Yeah. Knowing movies, it might happen.
But I mean, I don't know.
We got a bad Cinderella 2 and then a really good Cinderella 3.
I mean, like Disney doesn't really do like straight to video sequels much anymore. But moving on, I'm gonna go like completely outside like the major studios and bring in like arguably one of my favorite like franchises of all time. Not just a movie franchise, but like franchises in general. But I'm bringing in Pokemon the movie 2000. Look, I'm a big fan of the Pokemon movies. I think they're great. And I think Pokemon 2000, when they bring in like Lugia and that, I think it's actually better than the first movie. And I know there's a few other people that like do share that opinion with me. Because I know, like I've spoken to Jay Burns about this before as well. But Zach, what are your thoughts about Pokemon the movie 2000?
I mean, I don't know if I've seen it. If I did, it's I was really young. I'm gonna give it a slight yes, just because I just know how big the property is, and I feel like it could have been a good movie. So just for that, I'm gonna give it a slight yes.
Jacob, what do you say about Pokemon the movie 2000?
I think every good list can benefit from some diversity. And I'm looking at the list. We've already got three DreamWorks, two from one franchise. You know what this list needs? This list needs a little Pokemon. Pokemon is fantastic in any version. Games, shows, movies. Yes. So I'm giving it a yes.
Brian, what do you say about Pokemon the movie 2000?
I'm not a Pokemon fan. Haven't seen any of the films, so I'm saying.
Chris, what do you say about Pokemon the movie 2000?
I mean, you guys voted yes. I don't really have my thing. That I think it's good. I don't love it. I kind of do like the third one a little bit more, just because I think the father and daughter storyline, I think, is a little bit more impactful. Like, especially with the Pokemon in there, I think it had more to the story. I think like 2000, I just prefer the third one just like more.
But that Pokemon the movie 2000 is going to make this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm putting
and we go to Zach.
Okay, so I'm gonna go the Chris Diaz route. I'm gonna go for a third movie in a franchise in a Disney direct-to-video sequel, and that is Aladdin and the King of Thieves. The sequel is pure garbage, but this one might not be as good as the original Aladdin, but it's still an enjoyable movie. So I'm gonna say Aladdin and the King of Thieves.
Jacob, what do you say about Aladdin and the King of Thieves?
First of all, let's chill with the disrespect to Return of Jafar.
We
can talk good about something without crapping on something else, especially when it's decent. Okay, jeez. First it's Chris with the dig at Pinocchio. Now it's Zach with the dig at Jafar.
Well, they are teams anyway, so
I'm feeling attacked, and I shouldn't be. But no, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. I think this is a lot of fun. And I think it'd be cool to have a Disney direct to video sequel represented on the list. So I tried my shot at Kronk's New Groove, and if I didn't make it, this would have been my second choice actually. Introducing his dad. Robin Williams coming back. It's fun. So I'll give it a yes.
Brian, what do you say about Aladdin and the King of Thieves?
Yeah, I'm going to give Aladdin King of Thieves a yes as well. It's a great sequel to the third film with how the way between Aladdin and Jasmine. It started with his part here, and Agrabah song, some great music, welcome to Party Thieves. Johnny Gimli did a good job voicing Aladdin's dad, so I'll give it a yes.
Chris, what do you say about Aladdin and the King of Thieves?
I like it. I do. This is one of the better direct-to-video. Not high on my list than the other two. Like direct-to-video, I like the other one a little bit more. But I like it. It's good. Robin Williams good. It's on Dandy is a great way to end the series of Aladdin. I like to talk about the dad. I think the villain of the Wicked Partner movie, I think he's kind of weak. It's all the only member we've seen about in and out. And there's some thing that doesn't make it kind of leaked in. But yeah, I liked it. It was a good conclusion to the latter series. But I give it a slight yes, not high on my list.
Yeah, I mean, like personally, I do prefer. I do think Return of Jafar is better, but I don't hate King of Thieves either. I do think it's good. I probably would have gone. I would have gone slight no, but it's going to make the list regardless. Jacob, we go back to you for your next nomination.
Yeah, and we've got a Disney direct-to-video. Let's do a proper theatrical release. And I'm gonna go with the Rescuers Down Under. I think the Rescuers Down Under. It's kind of the forgotten movie of the Renaissance because it's kind of sandwiched between Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. So it's you know it's understandable that it's kind of forgotten, but it's a really good movie. The characters are coming back. It's a fun adventure story. The animation is definitely an upgrade from the '70s. It's a beautiful movie to look at. And it's got John Candy in it. How can you say no to John Candy? I dare you to try to say no to John Candy, Brian.
Look,
Brian, what do you say?
I enjoyed the sequel a lot. Not on my list for the top 12. It's enjoyable. I'll give it a slight no. But I do enjoy John Candy, though.
See, he couldn't give it the full no. It had to be slight.
Chris, what do you say about Rescuers Down Under?
We got them right now. The fact that one I haven't been up a little bit. So I do give it a slight no. I do like it a lot. I like it a little bit better than Wreck-It Ralph 2. Between the Disney Jurassic sequel. It's just a slight no. I think Jersey Scott is the best thing about it. I think he is a great villain in the movie. Mittley is a threatening, menacing villain, and his death is memorable. I like the original a little bit more than this.
I'm going to give this an absolute yes. I love Rescuers Down Under, and it's not because I live close to Down Under, but I think it's a really good movie. It's definitely a really underrated animated movie sequel because I think it slips under the radars. I think everyone forgets that it is a sequel because they either just watched this one and never watched the original. I don't know. But yeah, so as a yes. Zach, what do you say about Rescuers Down Under?
I'm gonna give it a slight no, only because I haven't seen it. So I feel like I can't judge it because I haven't seen it.
Rescuers Down Under doesn't make this list.
I'm sorry, Jacob. I know.
I'm just saying. Be consistent. You're saying yes to movies you haven't seen. You're saying no to movies you haven't seen because you haven't seen them. I'm just saying. Be consistent. That's all I'm asking.
It's like what Malcolm say he has seen most of the films, but this time Zach has seen most of the films.
But
It maybe brought up early in my head that we have them right now.
But Brian, what does the next movie going to bring up?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Five Girls Rest on this one. This is one I enjoyed growing up. It's great this time set in the Old West than New York City because of the original cast members return for it. A great sequence with the whole hoedown in the whole saloon, and also was Jamie Stewart's last movie. So let's go with Five Girls Rest.
Chris, what do you say about American Tail 5 or Goes West?
I do like this movie. I do out a sequel that was made from this series. I like this better than the two direct-to-video stuff. Even though the song I think the other one a little bit more memorable. We had 7 spots left, and much I do like this movie. I just turned like 5 more spots left. I think the villain's great. I think the animation's good. I think some of the humor does land. It is a bit corny for a sequel, and it doesn't have much emotional impact like the original did on me. Like somewhere out there, like hit me hard every time we watch the original. So I do give a slight no. Much I do like this movie. I'm not saying I hate it, but I do like it.
Also, Chris, I don't know where you learnt maths, but we've got 5 spots left. We've got 7 spots taken up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love An American Tail. It's been a while since I've seen the sequel. It's one that I was going to go back and revisit before this, just didn't get around to it. But I love it. It's an easy yes for me. So yeah, Zach, what do you say about American Tail Fever 5 Reasons?
Okay, I'm going to use the same logic as the last one. I haven't seen it, so it's hard to judge. So for that, I'm going to give it a slight no. It's just hard to judge. So
That's consistency right there, guys.
Jacob, what do you say about American Tail Fever 5 Reasons?
I know I've seen it, but it's just been so long that I don't really remember much about it. So, unfortunately, that means I'm gonna have to give it a no.
Yeah. But Chris, we go to you for your next nomination. What are you bringing up?
I don't bring up the Polly Darby is fun before the comment yell at us. We only got one piss off sequel by bringing up another one. It is, especially for me, from when I saw this when it came out, and it hit me emotionally. Toy Story 3. This is my favorite out of Toy Story movie. This is the film I graduated the same year this came out from high school, so I was at the age going to college in the fall, and it does hit me a lot. I gave up my toy the next day. I think by far the best villain. Lotso is a phenomenal villain. The emotional moment hit hard, and he gave you very hit toy the moment which is funny. But humor did. Ken is the best villain Ken until next week with Bobby for Barry. But this is amazing. Michael Keaton great Ken. The Bobby side very funny. Everything landed a perfect close into this trilogy. And Richie just ended it right here. This was a masterpiece of a movie. This is a film I rewatch all the time, and I cry every time I rewatch it. This is my favorite Pixar sequel.
Yeah. This is this is the one that infamously got left off the last one. But then again, I didn't rewatch the whole episode, but I think the reason it get left off is maybe I think we had 2 and 4 there. And I think people try bringing up 3 as well. It's like they're like, oh, you've already got 2 Toy Stories. We can't really fit the other one or something. It's probably going to be something like that. But yeah, like I flip-flop between 3 and 4 being my favorite of the Toy Story franchise. But Toy Story 3 is at the moment one of my favorite, especially after the recent rewatch. It's an easy yes for me. Like I love it so much. So yeah, Zach, what do you say about Toy Story 3?
I'm going to say yes for this. I will say I still think the original is still the best in the franchise, but this movie is right behind it. And I think it has a lot of good characters and a good story. So for that, I'm going to say yes.
Jacob, what do you say about Toy Story 3?
If Shrek can get represented on this list twice, then Toy Story deserves to be represented twice as well, especially 2 and 3. I think 3, Toy Story is one of those franchises where you could say any one of these movies is your favorite in the franchise, and I would get it because they're all really quality movies. Toy Story 3, was nominated for Best Picture for a reason. Hits you with those emotional moments. And yeah, people talk about that incinerator scene being emotional, but I think that last scene where he's talking and getting rid of his toys, that's just as emotional, if not more. So yeah, this is just a really, really good movie. One of Pixar's best. I think we could talk about this in just an overall sequels episode, and it would get brought up. So I'm going to give it a yes.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you say about Toy Story 3?
Yeah, it's going to be a yes as well. The whole pre-sequence with the whole Andy's Playtime reference with the well-led bar, the whole it was on Pork Chop opening, you get the flashback for Andy was younger growing up to now. Great use of great animation, some great voice cast with Michael Keaton as Candy said, Joey Benson as Barbie. Love the whole prison escape sequence, so it's a yes for me.
So Toy Story 3 is going to make the list.
There, you happy now? Comment. We mentioned it.
I mean,
Is there more comments?
No one was arguing that it hasn't come up yet.
Yeah.
But my next thing is that I'm going to try and go for a different animated studio because got some DreamWorks, we've got some Sony, we've got Disney, Pixar. I'm going to try and get an Illumination on here, and talking about surprising sequels that I didn't expect to love as much as I did. Like, I remember watching the first Sing movie. I was like, and thought it was fine, but Sing 2 surprisingly was a lot better. And I really enjoyed it. Like just having Bono voice this sort of washed up singer that ends up coming out of retirement to sing his own song. It was like was just great. And I think it's just one of those movies that I had a lot of fun with. And yeah, so I'm gonna try Sing 2, see what happens. Zach, what do you say about Sing 2?
So, I have seen this movie. I don't think it is as good as the first one, and I just think there are better sequels, animated sequels out there that haven't been covered. So for me, I'm just gonna give it a slight no.
Jacob, what do you say about Sing 2?
I have not seen this one yet, so I will sit this one out.
Brian, what do you say about Sing 2?
I have seen it. It's a good one, but for the list right now, I'll give it a no since there's only 4 spots remaining.
And Chris, what do you say about Sing 2?
I've seen bits and pieces of this. I never finished all the way through. I think it's better than the first one, but that not saying much. I don't love the first one that much. I think the last half is better than the first half of the first one. But there is a better Illumination Studios sequel than this that I hopefully when they come back to around me to bring up. Like especially the first set of Illumination sequel.
But Zach, we go to you for your next nomination.
Okay. I'm between 2, but I'm just gonna throw this one out there because let's see if it gets nominated. I'm going to throw out Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation. I actually think it is the best movie in the franchise. I feel like you get a lot of good characters, and especially the ending scene, the dance battle. That's a really fun scene. So I'm going to throw out Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation.
Jacob, what do you say about Hotel Transylvania 3?
I'm gonna give this one a no, and again, it's not because I think it's a bad movie. I do think it's a good movie, but it's not my favorite in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's not 4. Don't worry, it's not 4.
Those have there, so.
But no, it is a good movie. It's just if I had to pick a Hotel Transylvania movie to be on the list, especially given how many spots are left. 3 is not my choice. However, if 3 does make the list, I'm not going to be upset at it. It's not my favorite, but it is a good movie. Excellent voice work. I think this whole trilogy, it is underrated. I think it doesn't get enough love. They're all really solid. They're all really good. But this one, just because it's not my favorite and limited spots left, I'll give it a slight no.
Brian, what to say about Hotel Transylvania 3?
Yeah, number 3 is good. It's one of the last film the franchise found sound to be part of. I'll give it a no because it didn't make my list, and I don't think it's not my favorite one as well.
Yeah.
So it's a no.
Chris, what do you say about Hotel Transylvania 3?
I think it's okay. I like the one before a lot better. I like the second one a lot more. And I still prefer the first one to the new one I don't want to talk about. I think it's fine. I think the villain's okay. It's better when it's in the hotel than when it's trying to be on a cruise, and it does lose what makes the first 2 charming and such. When it focuses on the main trio and the emotional story and stuff. Yeah, it's just an over for me.
Yeah, I mean, I actually I quite like the whole Hotel Transylvania franchise. I actually do enjoy for the fourth one. Like the fourth one is still not my favorite in the franchise. But I like Hotel Transylvania 3 enough. I actually would have given it a yes. But that being said, I'm going to make the list. Jacob, we go back to you.
No, this was my real next choice. I'm not just piggybacking. But if 3 is not going to be on the list, I will go with Hotel Transylvania 2. I think Hotel Transylvania 2 is a lot of fun. Drax a grandpa now. He's trying to, get him to he's going to be a vampire, and they go on this sort of impromptu road trip while Selena Gomez and Andy Samberg are out on a vacation, or not a vacation, but like getting some alone time. Again, the voice cast, it all works. It feels like you can just hear them having fun. And that's I think that's what this trilogy is. I think it's a lot of fun. This is my favorite in the series. So I'll try my shot for Hotel Transylvania 2.
Chris,
Brian.
I was getting there. Brian, what did you say about Hotel Transylvania 2?
Yeah, I enjoyed Hotel Transylvania 2 a lot. I love how Drax can try to make his kid more of a vampire in the film. Love the introduction of his father, voiced by the Wayne Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
Some support character you get Parks and Rec, Nick Offerman, Megan Mullally, best over Ron and Tabby. I'm going to give it a yes for this one. How sorry representation.
Chris, what do you say about Hotel Transylvania 2?
Despite we only have first spot left, I will give it a yes. I like this movie a lot. It's better showcase everybody in the cast than the first one does. It give everybody, especially Frankenstein, the Mummy, moment to shine. But he accidentally set the camp on fire, and Frankenstein running out everything to catch on fire, run the biggest laugh at it from. And yes for me. Mel Brooks alone would get the vote for me, being the voice of Dracula's dad.
Yeah, this would have easily been a yes for me as well for Hotel Transylvania 2. It's my favorite in the franchise. It's just really good. So yeah. Zach, what do you say about Hotel Transylvania 2?
It's not as good as 3 for me, but I still think it's a quality film, so I will also give it a yes.
Finally, another one makes the list for me. That's 2.
Brian, we go back to you. What is your next nomination?
Yeah, I'm going to shoot my shot for this one. It came out last year. I'll shoot my shot for being inspired by Dune Universe. This is a good sequel to the original. Instead of having this line, you get this go to space and transfer and sucked into the wormhole to trade to present day. Their interaction with Siri, the whole white privilege sequence, and we have white privilege. You get them in jails, and I'll shoot my shot for Hotel Transylvania about being inspired by the Universe to make Austin and Jordan happy.
Chris, what do you say about Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe?
I have never understand the love and appeal of a Beavis Butthead. I think I'm not just enough funny. I prefer South Park humor over Beavis Butthead. Yeah, a no for me. I didn't even bother to see that. I just hate Beavis Butthead in general.
Yeah. I mean, my response to this is
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Yeah, I've made my feelings known about Beavis and Butthead. I'm not a big fan. And this is one, I haven't seen this, but it's also one that I don't really think of as a sequel per se. So, yeah, but Zach, what do you say about Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe?
I haven't seen it. I can't really judge it, but also knowing what other sequels haven't been talked about, I'm going to give it a no.
And Jacob, what do you say about Beavis and Butthead to the universe?
Not a Beavis and Butthead guy. Nah, it's not for me. I understand why people like it. It's not for me.
But first, we go to you for your next nomination.
You know what? We got Sony, we got a Disney, we got Pixar, got DreamWorks. Let's bring Illuminations to here. The one I originally mentioned, where I think there only been two good Illuminations to movie to me, and this one it's Despicable Me Too. I think this is one that take what made the first one really good and does do better. I like the addition to Kristen Wiig into the movie at the love interest for Gru. I think that whole mother aspect really cute, funny. You know, the daughter growing up wanted to have a crush on the main villain's son. I think the running up with that really funny. And it does more of it. It does the minion stuff well. It also have a good villain and some really good laugh. The party scene alone, a couple of good laughs that Free Wayne, the boyfriend, had to keep his kids haunt. It really good laugh. Yeah, I love this film. This is like to me, Elimination to a sequel right better than thing to me. Like good laugh, good heart, good humor, right amount of minion without being really annoying, and some really good action sequences. It's some great addition to the adventure.
Yeah. Like I was going to do a rewatch of the entire Despicable Me franchise for this, but I couldn't. But the only one I had sort of to watch was the only one I hadn't seen, which was Minions 2. But I did watch Minions 2. It's Minions 2 is Minions 2. But unfortunately, Despicable Me 2 currently is outside the range of movies I was going to say yes to. So I'm going to give it a slight no to Despicable Me 2. Zach, what do you say about Despicable Me 2?
Okay, so I have seen this, and I think it's a good movie, but to me, I think there is a better movie in the franchise that is a sequel, and it might come up, but for me, I'm going to give it a slight no.
Please don't tell me they say Despicable Me 3.
Jacob, what do you say about Despicable Me 2?
I actually really enjoy this franchise. I think all the movies are good, even the Minions movies. I don't care if you think they're supposed to be side characters, because I enjoy it. And when I watch movies that I enjoy, I don't care what other people think. So yeah. As far as Despicable Me 2, I think it's really good. I love the relationship between Gru and the girls. I think he's a not the best dad because of the living environment doesn't seem safe all the time, but he cares for him. So yeah, thumbs up, Gru. And yeah, I think the story is pretty fun. You could have picked any of the sequels, and I would have said yes to them. So I'll say yes to 2.
And Brian, what do you say about Despicable Me 2?
Yeah, I'll give it a yes as well. I probably enjoyed the sequel a lot. Loved the whole aspect of him going to dating, seeing him as a child, seeing flashback of him, seeing him have a crush on a girl, but then realize now once they're dating. Him joined the Anti-Villain League is good. Some good little voice cast there. Richard Brad, the villain. Yeah, I'll give it a yes as well.
But yeah, if that Despicable Me 2 is going to make this list. Yeah. So I've got 2 spots left, and it's on me to nominate. So I'm going to try and shoot my shot here because I am of the opinion Madagascar 3 is the best movie in the film. I think it's very underrated, and I think it's just such a good movie. And I think it's a lot of fun. And yeah, and I do think it has a lot of heart. But Zach, what do you say about Madagascar 3?
I haven't seen it. I mean, I've heard very mixed things about it. So, and again, I think I've only seen the first one of that franchise. So for me, I'm just going to go no for it.
Jacob, what do you say about Madagascar 3?
Yeah, I mean, oh man, had you brought this up earlier, I might be more inclined to say yes. But given the fact that there's only 2 spots and there's a few movies I think I would rather see on the list, I'm gonna say no. But again, not because I think it's a bad movie. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a lot of fun. Um, you know, who doesn't love Afro Circus? Let's be honest.
Don't after second, after second.
Brian, what do you say about Madagascar 3?
Yeah, I have to agree with Jacob. This was brought up earlier in the episode. I would give it a yes, but there's only 2 spots left. I'll give it a no, even though it's a good movie. There's this other sequel to talk about more.
Chris, you're obviously going to say yes, right?
I like this movie a lot. Skip, if we don't escape, Skipper would never finish school and never become president. I love some of the one-line in that film. I would have said it gave a slight yes because I think this is the funniest out of Madagascar movie. There's a really good one-line in this movie.
But with that, Madagascar is still not going to make the list. Zach, what is the next movie going to bring up?
So this has been high on my list, and I'll finally bring it up. I was not the target demographic for the first one, but I feel like this one had everything better. I'm going to say Frozen 2. I think it has better songs. I think it has a better story. Again, I was not the target demographic for the first one, but I felt like I was able to get into the sequel even more. So I'm going to throw out Frozen 2.
Jacob, what do you say about Frozen 2?
Frozen 2 has Lost in the Woods, which is probably the best animated song sequence in any Disney movie. So for that alone, it gets a yes.
Brian, what do you say about Frozen 2?
Yeah, I have to agree. Lost in the Woods is a good song, but overall, not the biggest fan of the second Frozen, and there are 2 spots left. I'll give it a no.
Chris, what do you say about Frozen 2?
I like Frozen 2. Show Yourself, I think, is the best song out of any of the Frozen movie. I think it's a beautiful song with Elsa. But I would give it a no just because we only had 2 spots left. But I do like it. I like the music better in the segment than the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Frozen 2010 is the best Frozen movie out there. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, Frozen 2 is great. And yeah, I was a big fan of the first one, so I was excited to go into the second one. I think it's just as good and just as great. So yeah, Frozen 2 gets these for me. So Frozen 2 is going to make this list.
Oh, we got 1 spot left.
And 1 spot left. And Jacob, we go back to you.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to go now because that was legit my next pick. I really enjoy Frozen 2. Let's see. You know what? I will shoot my shot for another Pixar. I know we got a couple on the list already. Kind of branch it out. I'm gonna go with Monsters University. I understand the criticism. People wanted like a direct sequel, and not what we got, because we didn't need to see how they met. But if you just look past your being upset about that, what we got was actually a really good movie. I liked seeing how Mike and Sully met. You see Randall in sort of a different light here. It's kind of silly, not this villain yet. The scare games are a lot of fun. Seeing how Mike and Sully came to be the friends they are. I think it's just a lot of fun, and I think this sequel gets unfairly crapped on because it's not what people wanted. But what we got was still really, really good. So I'm gonna go with Monsters University.
Yep, Brian, what to say about Monsters University?
There's 1 spot left. It didn't make my list, so I'll give it a no.
Chris, what do you say about Monsters University?
The 1 spot left. This is hard because I would consider that more of a prequel than a sequel because this is how they all met Like,
It's definitely a prequel.
yeah. I don't know how to rule it on that. I like Monster University. I think the ending is the best thing about it. I think the message of, that you not always get what you want. You have to wait to get it is a really good message for some movie. You got one spot left. Just not even like high in my list. Like in my honorable mention, like, if anything. Yes or no for me.
I mean, I said prequels was allowed, but like my argument was like, even though it's a prequel, it's still a movie that came after the original one. But it's like, I mean, the only one that I wasn't really sure about was Lion King 1.5, because that's basically the same movie just told from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So that was the only one I said like an absolute no on. But yeah. But that being said, like I do like I do like Monster University, and even though it's not a movie, we did eventually get a sequel series to it anyway.
Yes.
But I'm still going to give it a slight no. It's just not high that I would have said yes to it. But Zach, what would you have said about Monster University?
I mean, I would have said yes because that was one of the next ones I was going to talk about if I got it around to me again. So I would have said yes.
But Brian, we go back to you. What is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Let's see about this. Which one to bring up? Let's go with.
You gotta be ready.
Yeah. Let's go with another Disney direct-to-video sequel. I'll go with The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride.
That's the one I would go with next.
The whole song where he lives in you is great. You get this has more Romeo and Juliet story with his daughter and Scar's kids. Some great original characters come back and I quite enjoy it. So Lion King 2: Simba's Pride, my vote.
I think we all know how Chris is voting.
Yeah, this Sentinel of was the one that two ever mentioned. I really like Lion King Simba Pride. This is a sequel that you would think should not be made, but it is a really good sequel. It's like Cover and Kara, great characters. There is a really good villain for a direct-to-video movie. Like, My Lullaby is a creepy as hell song itself. Like very similar to Be Prepared, but I like it enough. Just about Be Prepared. Not One of Us is a great song. He Live in You. Every song hits, the emotion hit, and I think it does enough to justify why it should be made. A great twist on the Romeo and Juliet story a little bit, and I like that. Yeah, I guess for me, Do or Dandy get in my head every time I think of it.
Yeah, this is one of those ones I don't understand why they made it a straight-to-video sequel. Like, this is so good. In my opinion, it should have been a theatrical movie that they released. Unfortunately, it was just outside my range. I was like, yeah, I'm happy saying yes to these. But you know what? Some of the ones I've got up there, I don't think will come up or people will say yes to. So, I'll say yes. Zach, what do you say about Lion King 2: Simba's Pride?
Well, it's a movie I haven't seen, so for me, I can't judge it as much. So just for that, I'm going to say no.
And Jacob, what do you say about Lion King 2?
Can't believe The Lion King 2 is making the list and Monsters University isn't.
I know.
I mean, you should say no, and not that you make the list. But, oh, right. Yeah, never mind.
But yeah, Lion King 2 is going to close out this list.
Got two there.
Yeah. Hey, we got two director videos to even out where everyone have a representation.
But go into some honorable mentions. Chris, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Okay, two left on my list for How to Train Your Dragon 3 and Kung Fu Panda 2. I think Kung Fu Panda 2 is easily misunderstood. I don't get why people don't bring up a lot. Harry Omen is a phenomenal villain. It does more of a story than the other two does. Like, And How to Train Your Dragon Free Temple is amazing conclusion to the series and ending that knocked the hell out of you emotionally. Why it the last couple minutes. Might be for time, but I wrote down like Zone of Cold Fire, Bit Freeze, Escape to Africa with another one of my honorable mention. That's pretty much it. Like,
But yeah, someone mentioned that I had like Wealth Breaks the Internet. I think is a really good sequel. I really enjoyed the Croods A New Age. Like I know not a lot of people really like the first one, but I think the sequel is good. I think The Incredibles 2 is better than what people think about it, because I think it's but another one of those ones that I think that just gets misunderstood sometimes. Just a little bit of a random one that I really enjoy, which I wasn't really high on my list to bring up anyway, but I really enjoyed the sequel to Surfs Up. Surfs Up 2 Rave Mania is a lot of fun. And who ever wanted to see the Undertaker as a penguin?
No one.
nobody.
No one.
Sarah John Cena.
Well, I mean, you had a whole bunch of them, like Paige was in there, Undertaker was like a whole bunch of wrestlers as various birds. And I mean, and I think the recent, I think the recent SpongeBob movie is actually pretty good too. So that they were kind of on my list, but like
I almost had a Sponge Hot Rod in my top 12, but it made it in time.
but Zach, what honorable mentions did you have?
I only had two. I had one more direct to Disney direct to video sequel, and that was actually Atlantis, Milo's
Ooh.
Return. I thought that again, not as good as the original, but it was still a fun, enjoyable movie. And then the Despicable Me one that was not mentioned is actually Minions: The Rise of Gru.
I have on my list too.
I actually thought that was a little bit better than Despicable Me 2.
Jacob, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, after I had to research this to see if I was correct, but the 2007 TMNT, which is actually a sequel to the 1993 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I was considering bringing that up, but I don't know how picky people are. Incredibles 2, I also was considering, but it had made the list last time, and I wanted a little variety and not just bringing up some of the same movies from the last list. I mean, obviously, I think there are some that absolutely deserve it either way, but yeah. And then Cloud with a Chance of Meatballs too. Really like it. Really like it. Who doesn't want to be showered with meatballs? That is how none of them said no.
I didn't realize TMNT was considered a sequel to the third one.
Yeah.
I might have said yes if somebody brought up, but sadly, nope.
I mean, the other one that I did find out that I haven't seen, but I was like, I might watch it. It might come up as Stuart Little 3 is very similar to that. It's a completely animated sequel to the live action.
Not that good, honestly.
I mean, I haven't seen it, so I can't judge it. Brian, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, I have a few. I had Likey 3, in case someone brought it up. It's my favorite Likey film. I had Incredibles 2 as well, Codependent 3, Patches on the Adventure, Minions Rise of Gru, Toy Story 4, Soupy Come Home, Sponge Out of the Water, Frozen King of Dreams, Late Champ 2, Extremely Goofy Movie, Lilo and Stitch, and Dawn of Dinosaurs, I think 3.
I was debating. I had this conversation with Brian. I don't think to Become Home is a sequel animated.
I mean,
but-
check the list is considered
Yeah.
so.
But moving on, we're going to vote on the 12 we have. Just to recap what we've got Shrek 2, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Toy Story 2, Cosmos The Last Wish, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Pokemon 2000, Aladdin and the King of Thieves, Toy Story 3, Hotel Transylvania 2, Despicable Me 2, Frozen 2, and Lion King 2. One thing that's different from the previous list, we've got a bigger range of studios here, because like the last one was like really heavy Disney on Disney.
Especially Lilo and Stitch.
Well, I mean, it's still
Lilo
heavy on
and
Disney.
Yeah.
But Zach, what do you have for number 12?
Oh, I forgot to write it because you were. but Lion King 2.
Jacob.
I also have Lion King too.
Brian.
Pokemon 2000.
Chris.
Pokemon 2000.
I've got Aladdin and the King of Thieves, which means it's a tie between Pokemon 2000 and Lion King 2, and it's on me. So
We will find out.
Whether-
in a few short
well, I
months.
mean, it's not going to be one that I brought up personally. That's for sure.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not changing my answer then.
Same here.
Jacob, what do you have for 11?
I'm gonna go Pokemon now.
Brian.
Pokemon.
Chris.
Yeah, one doesn't look like the other Pokemon.
King of Thieves. And Zach.
Pokemon.
All right, I now know what my number.
Someone's watching something in the background. Brian, what do you have?
I
for
had the
10?
last wish.
Chris.
One of my least favorite Disney movies, Frozen 2.
I've got Aladdin, King of Thieves. Zach.
Last Wish.
And Jacob.
I'm also gonna go with Puss in Boots.
Ooh.
Puss in Boots' Last Wish is going to be at 10.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get there.
Brian, what do you have for 9?
Hotel Trivia 2.
Chris.
Christopher really rated this movie, Frozen 2.
King of Thieves. Zach.
Despicable Me 2.
Jacob.
King of Thieves.
But Despicable Me 2 is going to be 9.
Wait, how can we Despicable Me 2 be
No,
different?
I think
No.
I think it's King of Thieves.
King of Thieves.
Yeah, it's King of Thieves.
It was 2-2-1-1-1.
Oh,
Because I had Hotel Trivia 2, Chris had
but-
2.
so I'm not gonna lie. I heard the 2 a lot. It's like, but then I forgot everyone did different 2s. So, but yeah, I'm glad someone had sorted that out. But now this time I actually have to change the board. But Chris, what do you have for 8?
I love him in a film with directly a rip-off of The Last Airbender, Frozen 2.
I went How to Train Your Dragon 2, Zach.
Toy Story 2.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Jacob.
Hotel Transylvania 2.
Brian.
I agree with Jacob. Hotel Transylvania 2.
They have to come up with more jokes for every time that we don't go.
Hotel Transylvania 2 is going to be 8.
We should just make it our mission now to make Frozen 2 number 1, so we have to come up with 6 more.
No, it's not to become the latest Stitch all over again.
Jacob, I completely agree with you.
Lilo and Stitch didn't make it to number 1 though.
Made number 2.
Yeah, because Holzman, Boatman, and Kara apparently made a deal to get Lilo and Stitch to number 1, but Holzman wasn't good. But it came down to Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon 2, and Holzman really loves How to Train Your Dragon that series, so he wasn't going to let that be number 2. But that being said, I'm still going How to Train Your Dragon 2. Zach?
I'm still going with Toy Story 2.
Jacob?
Despicable Me 2.
Brian?
HTTYD 2.
Wow.
Chris?
Seriously, explain to me what the Chris up role in the second one, Frozen 2.
How to Train Your Dragon 2 is going to be...
I had to make it funny every time I saw Frozen 2 somehow.
You don't have to, but you do you.
Let's go. Can you recap what's off the list to go off?
Yep. So what we've got left is we've got Shrek 2, Across the Spider-Verse, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, Despicable Me 2, and Frozen 2.
Thank you.
I can't believe How to Train Your Dragon 2 this low a little bit.
I mean, Zach, what do you have for 6?
Toy Story 2.
Jacob?
Despicable Me 2.
Brian?
Just Despicable Me 2.
Chris?
You guys really telling me can't help me in that here. Sorry. Yeah, Anna would point Winston this Frozen 2.
Despicable Me 2.
How can you pull this and make it Queen at the end?
Yeah. It should have been an Elsa movie more than Anna movie.
Let's go. Let's see.
Don't worry,
Just-
Frozen 3 is going to be a Sven movie, so it's going to be all about the reindeer.
It's going to be all about Olaf.
It'll be Sven and Olaf, the buddy cop movie we never knew we wanted. But Jacob, what do you have for 5?
Toy Story 2.
Brian?
I got Frozen 2 on this one.
Finally.
Chris?
Yeah. Enough said. This movie is good, but not great. Frozen 2.
Oh, you mean it's amazing? Okay, see.
But I'm going to go as I quickly write it down. Toy Story 2.
So it's tied Jacob.
Right? No?
Oh, I
And
know.
Toy Story 2.
Wow.
Who hurt you guys?
No one hurt us. I mean, also, I think I think most of us have said we do prefer the other Toy Story over this one. So.
No, I understand. I just think you're saying Frozen 2 better than Toy Story 2. A little bit stretched.
No, people are allowed to have different opinions from you.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
Just,
don't worry. Malcolm, I think we should already slot in Frozen 2 for spot 1. Just
But Zach, what do you have for 4?
Toy Story 3.
Jacob?
I'll go Shrek 2.
Brian?
I agree with Jackery. Toy Story 3.
Chris?
Frozen 2, someone put me out of my misery here.
So the funny thing is, I'm not going to let Zach bully me to making something number 1 because I put Frozen 2, which means Jacob was different. So Jacob Frozen 2 or Toy Story 3 at 4.
I like to cause chaos sometimes.
Anarchy, baby.
And I cannot wait to see the comment section tomorrow or whenever you put your poll. And Toy Story 3 is at number 4.
I mean, to be fair, when I post the poll, like unless they watched the episode, they're not going to know what place they were. So
Anybody even watch us now in the comment section on the YouTube?
not at the moment.
It's close to chaos.
But so we've got Frozen 2, Shrek 2, and the Spider-Verse left. Ryan.
Let's call some anarchy, baby. Shrek 2.
Chris.
There were no plots in this movie. Frozen 2.
Yes, there's a plot.
I mean, there was a plot. It was good, but out of the three that's left, Frozen 2. Zach.
Spider-Verse.
And Jacob.
Shrek 2.
So we've got 2 Frozen 2, 2 for Shrek 2. So Zach, Shrek 2 was Frozen 2.
Zach, go to the good side, not the
No,
dark side.
no encouragement, Chris. It's his choice.
I'll say Shrek 2.
But now we've got Frozen 2 and Spider-Verse left. And this time, instead of voting for number 2, we're going to go straight to number 1.
Malcolm, now I know how you feel with the Leroy thing.
No, but the difference is this is one of the full length. The other was direct to video.
Well, see, I'm not as upset about this one because I do like Frozen 2. I do think it's quality. I mean, the thing is, with the last one, like I haven't seen Lilo and Stitch yet. So like it was one of those ones. Like maybe if I see it, I'll understand what the Coho Boatman Holzman see in it. But yeah, but as of yet, I just haven't seen it. But Zach, what do you have for number 1?
Frozen 2.
Jacob.
I can't. Spider-Man.
Brian.
Thank you.
Much I love Spider-Verse, but Anarchy Frozen 2.
Chris.
The second best movie this year and best animated movie last couple of years, Across the Spider-Verse.
It all comes down to you.
Come on,
Malcolm.
I mean, you clearly don't pay attention to what I was voting for the last few rounds. Spider-Verse. Frozen 2 is still going to be there. I mean, that's been like sometimes I'm a fan of chaos, but like if I really like the other movie, I'm not going to do chaos over it.
Oh, come on.
But-
I mean, is it chaos fun though?
I never said it wasn't. But depending on the circumstances, I will go to chaos sometimes. But that being said, our top 12 movies are animated movie sequels. At 12, we've got The Lion King 2. At 11, we've got Pokemon the Movie 2000. At 10, we've got Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. At 9, we've got Aladdin and the King of Thieves. At 8, we've got Hotel Transylvania 2. At 7, we got How to Train Your Dragon 2. At 6, we got Despicable Me 2. At 5, we got Toy Story 2. At 4, we got Toy Story 3. At 3, we got Shrek 2. At 2, we got Frozen 2. And number 1 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, all in all, I do think it's a pretty good list. Like they're all good movies, despite how some people might feel about certain movies about ice.
Some of these are brand new.
More
Some of them
about
are
Pokemon
like
than
from the original list.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I'm going to bring that list back up. So things that made it from the last list, like we've got How to Train Your Dragon 2, we've got Toy Story 2, Shrek 2, King of Thieves.
And that's
So
it.
So we made the original list. That's good.
So I mean, like, there's definitely a few. I mean, this was about
2019, I think, because Toy Story 4.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, so it would have been 2019. I can't remember what the. I think we did this list in honor of Frozen 2 that year, because I think Frozen 2 was the same year as Toy Story 4, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look back right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I didn't want
yeah, so getting some of these newer ones on there was always going to happen. Like there's always going to be some of those knocked off. But Zach, where can people find you online?
I am everywhere. I compete in Lights Out and Battleground, and I do all my movie reviews on Letterboxd.
Jacob, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can catch me over at the Movie Hero Network, Tier Anchor, Tournament Fights. I pop up there. But I also host a show called The Lonely Marks, which is our wrestling show on Thursdays, and then on about every other Saturday or every other weekend. Sometimes it's a Sunday, depending on the schedule. Austin Howell and I go live with a podcast about movies. Just a couple hours ago, we talked Mission Impossible because Dead Reckoning Part 1 just came out. So if you want to hear our thoughts on the franchise as a whole, you can go over and check that out. And then in about 20 minutes, you can see me competing in Lights Out trivia, facing off against one Paul Mead.
Ooh, nice.
Brian, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can probably do Chamber Spaces, the Pierce Co. I compete there. I compete Lights Out Trivia as well with the team tournament. I'll be in the FC Rumble coming up. But before we're doing me and Diaz to face off against the grudge match. Going to be on Movie Hero Network on Tuesday for the best vacation movies with Richie Ross and Alec Miller. I do Chibi Spaces and Judge Movie Battleground.
And Chris, where can people find you online?
You can find me anywhere via and highly I'm in pain over the Frozen 2 love here. But yeah, you find me anywhere, Letterboxd, anything you think to Thursday they have. They write my first review in a while for both Barbie and Oppenheimer. I think they're back to back Thursday this coming Thursday. So they try to start writing reviews again, and you find me anywhere. I'll be up again. This Frozen 2 lover here from MCU, my grudge match, but it'll be a lot of fun. We haven't up to date yet, but it will be fun.
And also the list for the original list came out August 18th, 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it must. So it must have been somewhat close. There must have been another sequel that came out that year as well. But yeah, you can find me on Take 3 Productions, hosting Rankum each week. Next week, in honor of Mission Impossible, it is going to be top 12 Tom Cruise movies, which is another Redux.
Okay.
Which is one of those ones like I decided to do a Redux Tom Cruise movies just because he's been in a few more movies since then, and two, it's another one that was really a really early ranking episode. I think is worthy of a Redux. But yeah, and you can find me appearing on the Movie Hero Network from time to time. Next time you see me probably won't be for a while because I think it's Battle of the Times I'm on next. But I host trivia over on Full Metal. This week's match is JPO versus Steven Shepard.
Oh, nice.
So, how much time will still be meeting then?
But yeah, so for all of us here, say goodbye. And I'm just going to go out on this clip because I'm probably never going to use this intro again. So might as well do it again.
Certainty of death, small chance of success.
Yes, hi, it is me, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm here to introduce you to the 250th episode of Tech 3's Rankum, hosted by the wonderful Malcolm Lay. Rankum is a fantastic show. It is one of my favorite things on the internet, even if they'd never done an episode about me. So, why don't you take a moment, sit back, and enjoy what is sure to be a fantastic show, because Rankum is always a fantastic show. Enjoy.